Welcome to Ask the Experts. I'm Jill Schlesinger, editor-at-large of CBSMoneyWatch.com. I'm joined by El Jefe, Eric Schoenberg. Do you like that?
I didn't know what you were saying at first. I thought it sounded you had phlegm in your throat.
I do, but that was just a way for me to clear my throat and actually sound like I was speaking Spanish appropriately.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Okay, Eric is the editor-in-chief, hence El Jefe. We are very excited to have El Jefe of Cars. Mike Quincy.
Gesundheit.
Mike from Consumer Reports. Oh, wait, what's your auto content specialist?
Right.
Is that its official title?
It's kind of like the FBI.
You are the car dude.
I'm a car dude.
You're the car dude. And let me just do a little quick bio. Mike joined Consumer Reports in 1993. He's the author of Consumer Reports' first ever blog, which debuted from Detroit's 2006 North American International Auto Show, responsible for keeping the Consumer Reports database up to date, all the basic and latest and greatest auto facts and figures. He reviews copy. You know, he's an old-time editor, it sounds like, Eric.
Yeah, and a car guy to boot. This is going to be fun.
This is awesome. Now,
I always have a pen, you know.
Now, here's the coolest thing, Mike, that, you've been on the show before and you know that I'm an idiot about cars. But Eric knows something about cars, which is fantastic. So I guess I'll leave now. You guys can just go at it.
Yeah.
So, okay, how many cars do you guys review?
We'd usually test between 80 and 90 cars a year.
Oh, my God.
Last year, we spent $2.3 million buying cars. And Consumer Reports, as you guys know, we don't take any free samples. We don't take any advertising.
That's stupid.
We have our own 327-acre test facility. And we buy our cars anonymously, just like you guys. I don't walk in with my Consumer Reports logo. I mean, I'm just, hey,
get a good deal.
I'm going to buy a car.
Hold on. What do you do with all the cars after they're done?
That is the question I'm asked more than anything else.
Not how did you get those good looks?
Yeah, what's your sign?
Uh-huh.
What we do with the cars is we offer them for sale to the people at Consumer Reports. And between the track and the home office, there's about 500 people. And usually we can find somebody that will buy it, or they know somebody that wants to buy it.
What if it's a crappy car, like you hated it, and you still sell them?
Well, we sometimes will wholesale them, or we'll use them as a trade-in for a new test car.
Ah, very good.
But the cars are in good shape. My mother has an ex-test car. My wife drives an ex-test car. So,
what about you?
I drive all the regular test cars.
Nice.
People say, "What car do you own?" And I was like, "I don't own a. Well, I own a 1965 Mustang.
But nice.
I don't drive. I don't drive it that much. I'm just driving all the test cars."
Now, before the show, we were talking about that you're going to do some sort of emotional psycho profiling of us. Now, once we tell you what car we drive, right? You're going to be able to judge us. So. You have these best cars, and it has so much weight. Do you feel the pressure?
No, we don't feel the pressure. I mean, no, we call them like we see them. I mean, we're very fortunate in that since we don't take advertising, we're not beholden to anyone. We don't take government grants. I mean, we really are independent. So we can kind of test a product and we say, this is what we like about it, this is what we don't like about it. The problem with most car reviewers is they don't really say anything negative about the cars, because if they do, then they won't get any test cars, because all the test cars come from the manufacturers. So if you say something bad, then we can't send any more cars. So luckily we don't have to worry about that.
When you look at there are other people who do rankings. They have different agendas. Motor Trend and Car and Driver and so forth. What's the difference between their rankings and yours?
I think they tend to cater more to the enthusiast, which is fine. There's a place for that. There's a place to argue the lateral G's that a Lotus will pull as opposed to a Corvette or a Porsche Box or something like that.
You're shaking your head. Wait a second. Hold on a second. You are shaking your head like you know what that means.
Lateral G's mean everything to me.
Okay, you know what I was thinking? I'm thinking my lats? How are my lats involved with this? Can you all right, so whatever. It's just minutia.
What that means basically is how grippy the car is.
Okay.
What the handling is like, how fast they are, which is fine. I'm an enthusiast. I grew up reading every issue of Car and Driver and Motor Trend and Road and Track. I mean, that was it for me. They'd come in the mail.
There are people
and
like this.
I would sit down at the kitchen table. I wouldn't move for 2 hours until I read every single word.
Eric, what was the thing that you read every single word of? Was that Mad Magazine?
Car and Driver was up there
Really?
too. They had great
Oh my God.
PJ O'Rourke wrote for Car and Driver.
I didn't know that.
Chaba Chera's great writer.
Really?
I met Brock Yates. That was basically my introduction. It's people say, who the heck is Brock Yates, and who cares? No, he's like one of the cornerstones of automotive publishing, basically. And he got me an interview with David E. Davis at Automobile Magazine in the 1980s. And I mean, that was it for me. When people say, what do you want to do when you grow up? And people say, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the president. I wanted to be an automotive journalist. That was it for me.
Man, the guy was directed.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew what he wanted.
That was it. And there seemed to me no greater calling than to drive cars and write about them.
So, to Eric's
well, how'd it work out?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Was it everything you wanted it to be?
It really is it's a good job. It's a good gig. My kids think you work. I mean, this is work.
That's what Eric's daughter always says. This is work. I mean, you just love it so much. You just love talking about 401ks versus pension plans so much.
That is great. Oh, I gave up cars for mutual funds. So.
That's where the money is. I think.
But to Eric's question, besides that some of those other reports are geared more towards enthusiasts, do you differ? I mean, are there times where you really take a different view?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Give us an example.
Well, for example, one of the more famous online automotive websites took issue with our best values story, because in April issue of Consumer Reports, we basically help people decide how to get the most car for your money and which ones over a 5-year period are going to hold up best.
Okay.
And they said, well, it's just all about money. Just buy the cheapest car. And our point was, no. You got to combine. What we're trying to do is combine Consumer Reports test results and something that is a good value and doesn't cost you a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the ways that we differ. And it's like they think that the cheap Chevy Aveo is the best car for the money. But no, they did really poorly in our tests. We wouldn't recommend that car. So for about the same amount of money, look at the Honda Fit. That's a better car. It's still inexpensive.
Now you say that is the best value.
That is the
Honda
best
Fit.
value. Over
but it is a goofy
period.
Looking car. Let's be honest.
It is. It is a 4-door hatchback, and Americans have this issue of no. It's a really nice car. No, yeah. I mean, it's not something. There are cars that you drive and you park it and you close the door and you walk away and you've got the key fob in your hand and you turn around and you hit the lock button, and then you walk a couple feet and you turn around and you look at it again. Because it's a good looking car.
Yeah,
it gets under your skin.
Yes,
you can't really say that about the Honda Fit, but it is a heck of a car for reliability, fuel economy, things like that. Listen, we get poked fun at all the time by the enthusiast public, and that's fine. We're going to test more mainstream sedans. We're going to test more minivans.
Right, those are what your people care about.
But we have way more subscribers than any of those guys.
Now look, it sounds a little like a contradiction in terms of the Aveo and the Fit are about the same price.
Yeah, more or less.
So, but the Fit is a much better value.
Right.
Explain that. How does it work out?
In terms of just the engineering of the car, the Fit's handling is better. Its acceleration is better. The brakes are better. The fuel economy is better. It's not as noisy. It has a better interior, better fit and finish, more room inside. Again, this is something to look at. You can't just. I don't think you should ever buy a car solely based on price. Most people, they have to make payments on this car. So as you're leaving your house in the morning to go to work, you close your front door, you walk out, and you look at this car, and you think, I hate this car, and I still have to pay for it for 4 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, in other words, do your homework, as Consumer Reports do your homework. Make sure that you like the car that you're paying for. Do a long test drive at the dealer before you sign the bottom line. Make sure you fit in it. Make sure you like it, because you get to live with it. So that's what we try to do is to help you with those steps.
Well, even quite apart from the quality difference that you've perceived in these two cars, it's more expensive to have the Chevy in this case. How do you explain that?
You have to ask the people at General Motors. This is, and people always say I want to buy American. This car is built in Korea. So
I want to buy an American car built in Korea,
right?
Sold by the French, serviced by the Germans.
But it's always so ridiculous. Well, maybe ridiculous isn't the right word, but people say I want to buy American. But so how do you do that? That's a whole discussion itself. How do you define what an American car is? I mean, you have American cars that are American branded cars that are built in Canada, built in Mexico, built all over the world, and vice versa. You have foreign car companies branded that are built in the United States. So, let's kind of get over all that. And they say, well, I want to buy American. You say, well, okay, don't shop at Walmart. Honestly. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's,
Right.
Chinese.
Right.
Chinese company. Best cars makes. Honda, Subaru, and Toyota. Toyota back in. It
Sure.
was.
Sure.
That was a little issue, that whole
Yep.
Toyota thing.
Was that real?
I don't know.
Some of the worst publicity car manufacturers ever had was when Toyota went through
Yes.
these millions of recalls, and it was awful. It was awful for Toyota. They really had to stand in front of Congress and bow their heads and say we're sorry. And the truth of the matter, though, and not a lot of media, I don't think, reported this. Every manufacturer has recalls, every single one. Sometimes millions of recalls. They did this whole study about whether or not the Toyotas were possessed by evil spirits and they were accelerating out of control. They hooked up with NASA and they did all say it was really driver error. Okay, now listen. I'm not going to defend Toyotas. They made some mistakes. They had these stupid floor mats that got stuck under the pedals, and it was a bad design, and it came right from Toyota. They're the ones responsible. But the positive of this, every manufacturer from here on out is going to make better floor mats that aren't going to get stuck with the accelerator pedal. I mean, honestly, they're all going to have brake override systems.
Yes, right.
Okay, they're all going to have these things to prevent something like this. And if that's the end result, then how can you say the recall in and of itself is a bad thing? So,
All right. I want to get to a whole bunch. We've got so many questions, and they keep pouring in, Megan. They're coming in fast and furiously. So we're going to try to weave in some of the things, the fact like Chrysler came in last. Dude, why are you kicking them when they're down? Why?
It's all about the product. They have to make it under Mercedes ownership. Chrysler's product really took huge hits. The debut of the 300 was a big deal. It was great styling. We liked it. It did well in our tests. But since the 300 in Consumer Reports evaluations, all of their products are just at the bottom of the rankings. Their overall reliability is below average. Their fit and finish of the interiors are poor. I'm not trying to kick them while they're down.
Yeah, you are.
But listen, they are. I think if any manufacturer is on an upswing, it has to be Chrysler. The most recent designs, such as the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Dodge Ram pickup truck, very impressive. That shows some life. We met with the Chrysler officials when we went out to Detroit Auto Show in January. They showed us some of the up-and-coming products. If they can see these things through, and they're as good as they look, as good as they seem, and if they can remain reliable, Chrysler has a shot. I'm not saying they're out of the woods yet. I think General Motors is ahead of them, and Ford is way ahead of them. But if they continue on this path, I think that they could make it.
I take it that Super Bowl ads didn't figure in your calculation.
Which are the best ad?
Chrysler by far.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Rena wants to know, and so does Steve, who just sent an email. Everyone's scenario is different. Overall, which of the two, leasing or buying, gets the best value of a car?
The best value of a car, if you can do this, and obviously, well, not many people can. If you can buy your car with cash right up front,
Yeah.
and drive it into the ground.
But a used car or a new car?
A new car will get you the latest and greatest safety equipment. I mean, I don't think people should ever try to save money and not have good safety equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But a 2 to 3 year old used car is a great automotive value because it's taken its biggest depreciation hit, and that's the highest. That's the number one cost of owning a car in the first 5 years. But buying a new car, again, you get latest safety equipment, you get good fuel efficiency, you get the latest designs. But if you can own your car over a long time and you can put 200,000 miles on it, and as long as it's not a reliability nightmare, you're afraid it's going to break down on the West Side Highway at 2 o'clock in the morning, that is the cheapest way to own a car, is to keep it for a long, long time.
Let me just turn to Eric Schoenberg, who I'm betting does just that, right? You buy a car, you drive it into the ground, don't you?
I was trained by Money Magazine to do the value thing, and yes, I do. I pay cash for cars. but I don't keep them that long.
You don't?
Well,
You get bored?
because you're a car.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I
That's the
can't-
problem,
I get
right?
bored. Yes, I get bored.
People will say, "Should I buy or I lease?" And I'll say, "Well, do you like to get a new car every few years? Then maybe you should lease. Do you not mind making a car, always having a car payment? Because there's a car, you're leasing a car.
Yeah,
you always have to pay
I
for
don't
it.
like payments.
So you got that. One of the good things about leasing is it usually is the lease time is during the warranty period. Anything breaks, you bring it back, no problem. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about selling it at the end. But you always have a car payment, and at the end of the lease, you've got nothing.
Yeah.
You got to start over. So you're just sinking money into it.
Right. You're paying for all that depreciation.
Not that a car is an investment. People say, well, it's a good. It's not an investment. It drops in value the second you drive it off the dealer's lot. But it is for some people. Some people can write it off on their business or whatever. But
Audit red flag.
But dollar for dollar. Leasing is not cheaper than buying.
Okay, another leasing question from Jim in Indiana, the heartland. As inviting as some of the lease offers look at the moment, would I be locked into the down payment and monthly payments being advertised, or are these negotiable? How widely do the actual numbers vary from the ones being advertised and appear to be based on the most elite credit worthiness?
Well, I think that's the key word there. If you have elite credit, then you will qualify for these incredible deals. Most people will not qualify. Consumer Reports has excellent advice on buying versus leasing on our website, which is consumerreports.org. But you've got to read the fine print. Often, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So be very careful about what you're signing and make sure you know what you're getting into.
Right.
Now, Mike, aren't there times when buying and leasing switch in terms of value, that manufacturers will assume a higher resale value, for example, at the end of the lease, which means that the lease payments are lower, and it turns out to be a better deal than the likelihood of owning the car with a loan and selling it at the same time?
I think it's kind of a gamble. I think there's also reasons why some manufacturers are going to push certain leases if they can offer. You negotiate the price of a lease just like you negotiate the price of a car. So you can there's a certain amount of negotiating room that they're going to have, or they're pushing a certain model. Some manufacturers like to have the crown of sales king. We want to be the number one seller for whatever reason, because they're usually probably squeezing their profits. So, I mean, if I were CEO of an auto company, I'd say, I don't care about being the number one sales king. I'd like to have the most profit.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Like I never ever get over that.
I mean, Eric's car company, they sold more than we did, but we made more money than them.
So we really actually care about the making money part. That's what we specialize in here. Diane asks, when purchasing a new vehicle, is it worthwhile to purchase the prepaid maintenance plan?
No.
Never, right? For almost anything.
Almost never. Consumer Reports did a whole bunch of research on this, and the prepaid payment plans, the extended warranties, all that stuff, in the long run is not paying off for the consumer. I mean, you could get lucky, and right after the warranty's over, all of a sudden your transmission falls out. It could. I mean, listen, it could happen. Some people have been saved by this, but statistically speaking, the manufacturer or the dealer is going to work out better than you. Right?
Okay.
So I would say do not.
Before we get into some specific car questions, which we're just going to blast you with, this is a good question after the winter, which is hopefully ending shortly. I cannot believe that it will. I was like, do I have to get my winter coat on again this morning? It was freaking me out, right?
I have friends in Florida that say, "Oh, it's 80 degrees and sunny today."
Hate them.
Oh.
Hate them so much right now. Lynn wants to know.
They drive Yugos.
Exactly. May you drive a Yugo and never prosper. Lynn wants to know, what would be the least expensive, best secondhand car for living in areas with heavy snowfall?
Heavy snowfall.
So least expensive for New Hampshire.
Well, to get least expensive and best in the same sentence.
All right, give it a meet me in the middle here, brother.
I would look for a used Subaru.
Full-time,
all-wheel drive.
I wonder who owns a Subaru. You are so awesome. I swear to God.
Subarus have a huge following in New England with all the snow and ice and the winter that we have, and certainly the winter we've just gotten through. But it's not just about all-wheel drive. And my advice is, it's actually more about tires. You have to have good tires. I mean, I would rather have a front-wheel drive car with really good aggressive winter tires than all-wheel drive with lousy ball tires or performance tires. We tested an Audi TT a number of years ago. It had all-wheel drive, but it had these really slick performance tires. And I drove it home in the winter. It's like, oh, I'm going to be great. Forget it. It was a sled. I mean, it almost slid off the road because there was no aggressive tread pattern in the tires themselves.
Oh, and by the way, that is not a car for large people because I sat in that car and I had to sit there for 3 hours with my head down, crouched down. I don't fit in that car.
It's not comfortable. It's noisy. But again, it's all about good tires, good tires, good tires, good tires.
Okay, let me ask Eric this question: What's considered good gas mileage these days? Do you have any idea? You must know that. I don't even know this. Like, what is today's standard? What would you guess?
Oh, I think anything over 30 is great, and there are cars that will give you over 40. But Mike's probably the best source on that.
Is that about right?
Toyota Prius. 44 miles per gallon overall in Consumer Reports test.
Okay, but it looks like an egg. So what about for people who want to buy a car that doesn't look like an egg? Like a regular for non-hybrid.
Right. Well, actually, I was going to say the Ford Fusion hybrid. It is still a hybrid, but it doesn't necessarily look like the hybrid, which can work for you or against you, depending on what statement you're trying to make.
Yes.
I mean, listen, Honda and Toyota were on the forefront of hybrids 10 years ago.
Yep.
Honda's hybrid was like the Civic hybrid. It looked like every other Civic.
Right.
Toyota brought out the Prius. It was very distinctive looking. The Prius has kicked the Civic hybrid's butt for sales. Oh, totally. Because most people buying hybrids, they want to say, look at me, I'm a hybrid driver.
Yes, I'm a geeky cool.
Okay. I'm slightly self-righteous, but I should say.
Yeah.
No. Listen, the Toyota Prius is Consumer Reports' top pick for a green car in the April issue.
Okay, so that's Keith.
It's a really good car.
That was Keith's. Keith just asked a question: best hybrid for price and reliability, and that is the Prius.
The Prius rocks. I mean, when you think about the technical marvel of the Prius, it can hold 5 normal-sized adults. There's room for cargo. It has 10. We have 10 years worth of data on the hybrid technology and the components.
Yep.
It does so many things well, and again, 44 miles per gallon overall is awesome.
But what about for like non-hybrids? What's the gas mileage? Is it what Eric said, like over 30 is good for sort of regular cars?
I got one for you.
Yeah.
A Volkswagen turbo diesel.
You know what? You're such a You're a Volkswagen lover.
No, I'm a big diesel fan.
Really?
Oh yeah. For whatever reason, Americans have never embraced diesels. Part of the reason is diesel fuel costs more in some cases than premium,
right,
which is a big turnoff. But when you get a diesel on the highway and you put it in its top gear and you hit cruise control and you just motor down there, and you know how you have the trip computer that shows you miles to empty?
Yeah.
Well, in the diesels, the numbers go up.
That's pretty wild.
Down.
That's amazing.
Sounds like
It's like, you know, I think we got 600 miles on the last Volkswagen diesel.
Crap.
That for a highway cruise. I mean, it's amazing. It's like, get in the car, drive to Detroit.
David just asked diesel versus gas versus natural gas versus electric. So would you choose diesel over a hybrid right now?
I would personally, because I find the diesel cars more engaging to drive. I find that the diesel, the Jetta, the Golf, the Mercedes turbo diesel, they're like real cars. I mean, they have good steering, they have good handling, they're fun. The hybrids are a great car. They're not a ball of fire to drive. You don't get in your hybrid and say, I'm going to carve through this great canyon road, and I'm going to No. So you know, but diesel doesn't appeal to everyone. You have to find a gas station that has diesel and all of that. But I personally really like diesels.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of hydrogen, you know, that is a big unknown. The electrics are a big unknown.
And how many years away? So I can say to David, like, but in X years, electric is going to be all about that.
Right, but I mean, to answer your question before, if you don't want to get a diesel, and you don't want a hybrid, you just want a car. You just want a car.
Right.
A 4-cylinder Toyota Camry gets great gas mileage.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
A 4-cylinder Honda Accord gets great gas mileage. A 4-cylinder Ford Fusion, fabulous gas mileage, and you're not dealing.
But these
with
are
any of that
boring,
stuff.
right? Tell the truth.
They're relatively boring.
Okay. What about, see how I got him to say it?
Yeah.
Breaking
Or
news.
the Mini Cooper.
Not
Who
boring.
Who owns a Mini Cooper?
Mini Coopers are not boring.
And cool.
They are
But
cool.
the gas mileage isn't as good as those cars because we used to own it. We used to have a Mini.
Not quite, but still very good.
Yeah.
I mean, upper 30s. I would say.
Yes,
I'd have to look up the actual numbers, but
And fun.
But I mean, the guys the men and women that I work with at the track, we're all real heavy duty car people, and we get tremendous cars. We tested Dodge Vipers, we've tested Chevrolet Corvettes, Porsche 911s, but one of the cars that like stopped us all in our tracks in terms of fun factor was a base Mini Cooper with a manual transmission.
Yeah.
I mean, no turbocharger, no sport package, just a base Mini Cooper with a manual. Like,
That's cool.
This is so much fun.
That is fun.
Oh, I drove that with a smile for like 2 years running.
And then what did you do? Did you get a fancier one?
The smile. I was just got a little
Bored.
used to it. Yes. But still, I can make my passengers' coffee fly out of their hands. Talk about lateral G's.
Yeah.
To me, that's a great measure of a
Yeah.
car.
But Mini Coopers have their drawbacks. I mean, they are noisy. The ride is rough.
Yeah.
It's a small car. Definitely noisy.
But I
though.
will say, as a tall
Yes.
person, the one thing is that if you are not necessarily tall from the waist up, the Mini Cooper has a lot of more headroom than a lot of the smaller cars.
It's deceiving. But I mean, for a car that gets decent fuel economy, a little bit more room, touch more civilized, I'd say, like a Volkswagen GTI.
Right. Okay. I'm in need. Here's Rod. He says, I'm in need of a good deal on a car. Who isn't? I have a 2004 Nissan Quest that has over 190,000 miles. Okay. He still owes $2,000 on it. He's looking at the possibility of trading it in. Can you imagine what you get in on that trade-in for $190,000? He wants to put $2,000. He wants to trade it in and basically say, well, can I get some money for this, pay down my loan, whatever, or I'm going into the auction to find something for less than $2,000. What do you get for $2,000?
Not much. Not much. And going to auctions can always be a very dicey deal because auctions can consist of cars that nobody wanted, cars that were repossessed, cars that had huge repair bills. You might find a dime in the rough also.
Yeah.
But I would not think that you were going to get a great value. And again, for $2,000, you might have to settle for a car that's maybe 10 years old and 15 years old, and you're getting that much older safety equipment.
Yeah, that's not good.
I mean, one of the things Consumer Reports has always been pushing, and I totally believe this, is get a car with stability control because it's the best safety invention since the seatbelt. It's saved lives. It really can save your bacon if you're swinging around a turn way too fast. Can bring you back. I mean,
and when did that come out? So at what year is the turning point on that?
The turning point probably for mainstream stability control, I'm going to say maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Because that's part of the discussion that always comes up when people say, I want to get a car for my teenager. And they think, I don't want to spend much money. I want to get an old beater, blah, blah, blah. Now, the truth is that a teenager actually should drive the newest car with the latest safety equipment, head protection, airbags, anti-lock brakes, stability control, all these driver aids that will help an inexperienced driver be a lot safer. As parents, you have many more years behind the wheel and a lot more experience. You can handle an old car better than your teenager.
As a matter of fact, Michael L. needs to buy a car for school for under $20,000. What models do you suggest? I'm debating the Hyundai Elantra and the Volkswagen Jetta.
All good.
Any ideas for what to look for other than those two?
I would look at. We come back to the Honda Fit.
Yep.
Definitely look at that. I would look at a lower priced Ford Fusion. I would look at a Honda Civic. I would look at a Volkswagen Golf. Depending on where you're going to be in terms of weather, you might be able to get into a lower priced Subaru Impreza if you need all-wheel drive. There's a lot of great choices for 20 grand and less. In fact, the April issue of Consumer Reports, we have a whole list of best cars for about 20 to 25.
No, that's good.
Now, to the extent we're talking about a car for a kid here too, one of the myths, I think, is that you should get the biggest car you can so that your your heir is driving down the road in a tank,
Your
and nothing can harm them.
Your offspring.
But that's not necessarily true.
Not necessarily true, but you still can't overcome physics. A larger object running into a smaller object, the larger object wins.
Yeah.
And that is we can't
Which
really-
is why we should not allow these children to drive until they're 21, basically. I mean, really, let's be honest.
That's
I mean, I know the parents will go nutty,
if
but
you told me that when I was a teenager,
Yeah, kill ya.
I was ready to drive at 12, but like, no, you have 4 more years. Yeah. I mean, you're right. The small cars are not death traps. Don't call them that. They still have great safety crash test ratings from the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, and the government crash tests them. And again, they have stability control, they have head protection airbags. That will all work in your favor. The Hyundai Elantra was one of the ones we mentioned that was inexpensive, a top pick by Consumer Reports in the April issue. Has great safety equipment, good performing car. But when Consumer Reports talks about safety, it's not just the equipment that you have, but it's also your driving. I mean, in terms of you need a car with good brakes. You need a car with decent acceleration. You need a car that has safe handling. In other words, the best accident is the one that you avoid. And sometimes if you can drive around an accident because the car is responsive, has good tires, that will help you as much as something that's massive. I mean, something that's massive has much clumsier handling. It's much slower to respond to your steering inputs. It takes longer to brake. So it isn't just about the mass. In terms of surviving accidents, it's the agility that you have to avoid an accident.
Okay, so here's another one, Mike, from Cody out in Irvine, California, who's making the decision between buying a Honda Accord Coupe V6 and a Hyundai Genesis Coupe V6. What do you think? And this is interesting because I feel like this also. He says, I know Hyundai is really stepping it up these days, but I'm still concerned about the image they represent. In your opinion, Mike, has Hyundai made the full transition to an automaker that could be considered competitive on the same level as Honda and Toyota?
Totally.
So,
no question.
Okay.
No question.
That said, then what about the Honda Accord versus the Hyundai Genesis?
I think, this is a person that is interested in a coupe.
Yeah.
So styling, I think, plays a big part in this decision. I like the styling of the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. I think it looks really good. But I like driving the Honda Accord better. I think the Accord has a better power to weight ratio. In other words, the amount of horsepower that you can get out of your engine versus how much weight the car is hauling around. I think the Honda has it all over. I think Honda makes a better manual transmission. And again, if you're into sporty coupes, you're probably going to want to shift it yourself. And I think Honda does a better transmission than Hyundai. I think there's a great value in Hyundai. Again, I think Hyundai looks good, but day-to-day driving, I'd rather be in the Accord.
All right. Here's one. Audi A4, Buick Regal versus Audi A4. Regal GS coming? Asks David.
Yes, the Regal GS, which stands for Grand Sport, for all those old muscle car fans from the 60s and 70s. Yes, the Regal Grand Sport is coming. Had a chance to sample a pre-production model out in Detroit. Lots of fun. Again, you can get a manual transmission in it, which in a Buick manual transmission, holy cow.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to buy them. Okay, listen, I love manuals.
Will the
but
manual,
nobody's going to buy
will
them.
it be up here? Or, like a little throwback?
They call it the 3 on the tree.
Nice.
Yes, right. No, I
Sad
don't.
that I know that.
Yes, it's pretty
Sad.
amazing.
That's impressive. So yes, the Regal Grand Sport is coming. Consumer Reports test of the current Buick Regal. It's a very competitive car. It's based on a European platform, so you're not getting the isolated ride and handling that you might traditionally get from a Buick. It's a lot more engaging. What was the other model that Audi A4?
Audi.
Year in, year out, A4 is a fun enthusiast car.
But what's the difference between the Audi A4 and the Volkswagen, whatever it is? Isn't it the same car, really, inside?
Audi and Volkswagen share a lot of the same platforms, same engines.
Same language.
Exactly.
I am a mistress of the obvious. Yes.
But the A4, the Audis usually have a little higher scale interior. The kind of fabrics they use are nice. The fit and finish is nice. They probably give you a bit more horsepower, and they definitely have a more enthusiast mission as opposed to Volkswagen, which is a bit more mainstream. A4 is a wonderful sports sedan, arguably more fun to drive than the Buick. But the Buick is not a slouch. This is the first Buick that I would think, I don't mind driving this car. But the A4 is super. It's a really nice
A4 or
car.
BMW 3 Series? I just like.
Yes,
Don't
that's a tough one.
Don't
Yeah.
I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I have no idea.
I have a soft spot in my heart for the 3 Series.
Oh.
I think it's a great car. The problem of the 3 Series, and this is only for the turbocharged models, and Consumer Reports reliability data, thumbs down. Problems with that engine. The non-turbocharged 3 Series is recommended by Consumer Reports.
What's 330xi? That's what I had.
That was the all-wheel drive model.
I like that.
It's a great car. It does so many things well in terms of combining the right balance of ride and handling, noise isolation, engine smoothness, incredibly good transmissions, excellent fit and finish. Day-to-day, easy to live with. I mean, most people that really like cars will take a 3 Series in a heartbeat.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
Terry wants to know this. I love this person because this is a person who knows him or herself. I don't know, a Terry man or woman. I currently drive a Volvo V70. Oh, my God. Megan, you just asked that in the middle of me reading.
That's a station wagon.
And love having a wagon. I'm not interested in an SUV at all. Maybe I have European genes, says Terry. What are your thoughts on the wagons on the market? Volvo, Audi, BMW, etc.
I have American jeans. They're called Levi's.
I love that, and they look great on you. You got such a nice butt. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, I have fans.
I know you do.
Yeah, right. Sally, can you get the shot?
Right,
please?
exactly. He knocks him dead in New Rochelle.
No, you have to pay for that. the butt shot. You have to pay for the butt shot. I'm sorry. The question was
your wagon choices.
the wagon. Yes. Okay. The stock answer, and I love this answer. People say, "What's the best SUV?" Best SUV, in my opinion, is a station wagon. We like the Volvo wagons. The XC70 kind of gives you that a huskier look because it has an elevated ride height and more aggressive tires. Sort of looks like an SUV, but it's still a wagon. We like the 70 series wagons from Volvo. I also am a big fan of the Subaru Outback wagon. Does a lot of things well, comfortable, good results in Consumer Reports test, reliable, decent fuel efficiency for what it is. The wagons are terrific. I mean, if you don't need 3 rows of seats, then I would take a wagon any day. The Volkswagen Jetta wagon, slightly smaller, again, available in the diesel engine. You get a manual transmission if you like to shift it yourself, or the plain automatic is good. Great fuel economy, and it's not a truck. It's not a big lumbering piece of metal. It's a very engaging car to drive.
What is a CUV? Is that a crossover?
Crossover, yeah.
Okay, here's Bill, who is, by the way, whose title is Master Distiller. I love this guy already.
Sounds like he knows Charlie Sheen.
I own a small business. I don't think he drinks that much. I think Charlie does other things. But anyway, I own a small business. I'd like to get a CUV, crossover utility vehicle, people. What are my best options in today's market, asks Bill, the Master Distiller.
Master Distiller. Yes, and you can deliver that case to my house.
That's right, exactly.
I don't even care what it is.
Right, whatever.
Can it outrun the revenuers? I think that's the question.
Bourbon, gin, no. I would say one of the most fun crossovers is the Nissan Murano.
Okay.
Great V6 engine, nice interior, good steering, good handling, great reliability. The Murano is kind of almost the enthusiast choice for one of these kind of crossover vehicles. For a bit more high end, I would look at the Lexus RX, whether the standard V6 or the hybrid model. Again, good fuel economy.
Wait a minute, that hybrid one, isn't that wildly expensive?
It's upper 40s, almost 50. I mean, it's big money. But it is as luxurious as any luxury car you can think
I have
of.
so many questions to get through, so I'm going to blast through 3 more. That's it, or else Megan's going to have her baby right here. Hang on, Megan. Just another week or
What's
so.
the best car to deliver a baby in?
Oh, that's a good question. What is the most cabin room?
Anything with a fold-down rear seat.
Anything that comes replete with stirrups. That's what we want. Here's a great question. Jean says, she's a baby boomer with bad knees. I like my Honda CR-V because it's easy to get in and out of, but it's 10 years old. I want to buy something new this year. Are there other non-SUVs that are tall enough to get in and out of easily? A woman after my own heart.
I would look at the Toyota Highlander. Very nice. Good ride height, comfortable seats, good visibility. When we talk about visibility, we talk about safety.
Right.
The ability to see out of the car. In other words, some cars, the door sills are really high. The glass area is really narrow. You just can't see out of it. One of the great things about the Highlander, you sit up high and you can see all four corners of the car. Easy to back up, easy to get in and out of. Good cargo capacity. 3-row seating if you need it. Again, hybrid availability. Great fuel economy. I love the Toyota Highlander.
Okay.
Love it.
Sienna or Odyssey?
Right now, Consumer Reports is recommending the Toyota Sienna. Top pick in the April issue of Consumer Reports for best minivan. Not as good, actually, as the last Sienna. The previous model Sienna had a nicer interior, a bit more luxurious. The new Sienna isn't bad, but it's not quite as good. And while we do like the Honda Odyssey, did well in Consumer Reports tests, handling got a little bit better, got a little quieter, which was one of the biggest Achilles heel against the Odyssey. It was noisy. We don't have reliability data on the Odyssey yet, so we can't recommend it.
Certified used cars, worth the extra money to have it certified used?
You have to be careful of who is certifying it.
Ooh.
Okay, there isn't a law. I don't believe there are any laws on the books that say certified means this. I mean, Joe's Garage could say it's certified by Joe.
No, but like BMW, Mercedes
right.
certified pre-owned.
So if you're thinking about buying a certified car, make sure it is certified by the factory. By BMW. You got to make sure, because then you have some recourse. They usually give you extended warranty. They say they go over the car and make sure everything works. You usually pay a little bit extra for a certified used car, but it can give you more peace of mind. Again, you have that extended warranty. If you buy your used car from your neighbor, he's not going to warranty for you, but you pay a little bit more for it. And it might be, if it's one of those cars, say you see this Jaguar. It's a beautiful Jaguar. You're like, oh my gosh, it's a reliability nightmare, but I got to have this.
Right.
That might be.
Do people still think that?
If you got to have it, then you probably want some warranty behind it.
Last question. Megan, do you want to ring the gong before I ask the question? Okay. My 20-year-old college student needs a car. $5,000. Oh. What do you want to recommend?
Oh, okay. Well, again, we get back to that whole argument or discussion about you're not going to get a really new car or even a 2 or 3-year-old car for $5,000. It's hard to find. So you're going to be putting your college student in a car that doesn't have great safety equipment. That being said, there still are cars out there that will pass Consumer Reports reliability test for a good used reliable car. I would look at a used Honda Civic. I think that's probably within the price range, good reliability. I would look at a used Toyota Corolla. That also would probably fit.
Okay. All right, one last one, really, just because this is a good one. Randy asks, a dealer will often show you an invoice to, quote, prove his price.
Right.
Let me do that again. Prove his price. How do you respond knowing that incentives and holdbacks are not shown in the invoice to calculate his true price? I usually walk out.
Sure.
That's my best.
Sure.
But what do you suggest?
I suggest you come to Consumer Reports because we have a price service where you can pay a fee and find out the actual real cost of the dealer's the true dealer cost of the car. Because that's where you want to start. You want to start negotiating from the dealer true cost and negotiate up, as opposed to take the sticker price and negotiate down. Listen, the dealer's not in business to lose money. This isn't a charity case. They want to make money. I mean, granted, the profit margin on a new car is very small. They make a lot more money actually selling used cars than new cars. But when they say we're gonna sell it below invoice, well, listen, they're not giving it away. They're going to get some money back from the factory. The question is, what kind of profit should the dealer get? Should it be 2% above invoice, 3%, whatever? It's going to depend on supply and demand. In the April issue of Consumer Reports, we have our first look of the Chevrolet Volt, the plug-in electric vehicle. They're extremely hard to get. We had to actually pay $5,000 above the sticker price to get this car.
Wow.
Okay, so if you think, well, I'm going to go to the Chevrolet or I'm going to go to Nissan and buy one of those Leafs and I'm going to pay their No, supply and demand still rules.
Now, just a quick question, because we did some buying once, but I just went to the chat room, so I'm sorry, chat room, that I've been ignoring you because I've been so, putting my eyes in my email. Lori wants to know, selling her 2006 Odyssey, 130,000 miles, should she fix minor body damage or sell it as is?
Good question.
Ooh, Lori. Lori, we love you.
If you fix it, there's no guarantee you'll get that money back. And you can even talk to a potential buyer. Say, I've got I know a good body shop person, good paint person. I can get that taken care of, or we'll sell it for less, and you can get it as is. And if you don't care about how it looks, it'll cost less money. I mean, I think that's probably just a kind of a negotiating point between the buyer and the seller. I guess.
It's not really like a house where it's like you throw a fresh paint job and it looks better.
Right?
You know what I mean?
You get back all the landscaping you do. But if you make a change that raises the car from being fair in condition to being good or very good, does that make that kind of repair worthwhile?
It could, but again, if the repair costs you $800 and you can't raise your price $800, then
it is.
But again, a minivan with 160,000 miles, maybe the buyer is going to be a contractor. Once you're going to start a new painting business or home contracting business, and they don't care what the outside looks like, so they don't want to spend the extra money. I would think maybe you could work it out if somebody's like, I'm interested in your van, but I noticed this little damage here, and what can we do about that? Then you start from there.
Celia wants to know the best luxury SUV for a family of 6. Luxury SUV,
family of 6.
Family of 6, dude. Like, what are you having all these kids for? This is nutty.
Ooh, okay. I would say
Eric's figuring out the college costs right now.
I would say look at the Buick Enclave, which is an SUV that's shared with. There's a Chevrolet Traverse, the GMC Acadia. The Enclave is a bit more high end. Again, 3 rows of seats. That and ride and handling that are. It's not a big, heavy truck. It's not a big, bulky thing. Did really well in Consumer Reports test. For something bigger and a bit more, even without the Lexus label, the Toyota Land Cruiser is very nice. It's very big, lots of room inside, drinks gas like a kid drinks Kool-Aid. Just so you know.
Like Charlie Sheen does drugs. Okay, sorry. We just had to, you know what I'm saying? We just got to get that SEO thing in there.
I think that's shocking.
It's terrible. If you want an SUV with a third seat for kids, this is the last question. You're not a high on the SUV thing. You really love the minivan, right?
I mean, I can't say I don't like SUVs. I think they are interesting vehicles. But if you're honestly not towing a trailer, if you're never going off-road, if you hardly ever have people in your third row, it's a big waste of money. It really is. But family vehicle, 3 rows, get a Sienna. Get a Sienna. Sorry.
All right, that's Raphael. Get a Sienna. Okay, Mike Quincy, auto content specialist.
We still don't know what that means.
I just
I think we learned a little bit about what it might mean.
Car maven.
Yeah.
Motor maven.
Yeah.
I've been called a guru.
Oh, really? Aren't you
A
nice?
car
Very good. Yoda.
Almost.
I love that. Anyway, Mike Quincy is the auto content specialist.
I'm not going to do my Yoda impression.
Oh, that'd be very good.
Tempted. No.
Of Consumer Reports. Go to Consumer Reports and check out their 2011 best. And let me do that. This is so high tech. Check this out. Put that up. Hold on. Here we go. Come on. Higher. Lower. Higher, lower. Is it on there? All right, good. Consumer Reports car guide here, 2011. Eric, isn't he just so much fun?
Oh,
You could have this for another hour.
Oh, I could talk about cars for, and I'm amazed at how much I can still learn. So thanks, Mike.
That's my pleasure.
You're just the best. Next time, Eric is going up to the track.
Please.
Because he wants to go drive some cars.
Come up to Connecticut. Hopefully the snow will be thawed by then.
Your legal issue in Connecticut's cleared up, right?
That's right. I think as long as I'm on the track.
Exactly.
And I can take off my disguise when I get there.
That's right. So really, thank you so much. And if you want more information, go to Consumer Reports. It's like actually the best subscription because it's so much fun and you get great stuff, not just car stuff. So thank you, Mike.
My pleasure.
Eric Schoenberg. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
As
My
always,
pleasure.
fun to be here. Come on down next week where we plan to live blog Megan's birth next week here on Ask the Experts. What do you think?
I'm there.
I think we should do that. I
Definitely.
really
That's,
do. I know
Megan's
she's turning.
shaking.
She's
Yeah,
turning
right.
red. Megan's our
Nah.
awesome producer. So thanks to Megan, their fabulous producer, and Sally, who is running the board. Always a pleasure to work with the best. And you're watching and listening to Ask the Experts. We'll see you next week. I'm Jill Schlesinger,
Eric Schoenberg.
and that was Mike Quincy. And so we're psyched to have him. Check it out. We'll be here next week. Bye.